My friends, all right, this is not going to be a sales pitch for the course that we're doing. I want to get a little bit more into understanding theory for guitar. Okay, now music theory is for all musicians, right? And pretty much follows the same rules. And the interesting thing about guitar players is we can get by without any of that and using sort of just patterns in numbers on the fretboard, right? I don't need to know why that's an A minor pentatonic, right? I can go as far as saying like, well, I know that's an A note and I know that pentatonic shape, right? And there we are. So it becomes a little bit overwhelming when guitar players have like already been playing solos and then try to dive into the theory and they're like completely overwhelmed because they're not doing it while they're learning their instrument. Like a lot of other instruments have to do, especially if they're not just sight reading. You know, if they are trying, you know, some piano players or saxophone players, you know, they sort of get through the beginning part of their learning, and then they start to get into some improvisation and want to write their own stuff. With guitar, we're able to get to a level, and a lot of guitar players hit the ceiling, and theory is the next step. Okay, now. Why theory is so daunting is it's simple, small steps, okay, that you're taking to understand everything. There is no, God, how do I explain this? I guess the way that you could be searching this on YouTube is you're sort of on step one, and you're learning, okay, cool. I get the major scale, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then all of a sudden you're getting in the modes. And what it looks like is now you have 7 different theories that you have to learn. That's not the case. It all comes from this very simple sort of major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that, you know, this idea and everything is built off of that. The problem is when you're skipping steps, or there's nobody showing you what the next step is, and the next step is, you know, it's like that step is like a little too far away, boom, and then you just sort of like fall in the river, which happens so much. So when somebody reaches out to me, you know, and says, or even a client just did this, we're not quite at the point where the circle of fifths is relevant to what we're doing. And they say, hey, I want to get into the circle of fifths. It's like, okay, but we're not there yet. And they're like, but I don't know, it's something I was watching a video. See, this is where like the whole YouTube thing kind of gets daunting and distracting. I was watching this video and someone was talking about the circle of fifths and like, I didn't quite understand it and I want to understand it. It's like, okay, well, wait a minute. If you understand it, now, you know, you're sort of deviating from the path. Why don't we just walk our way up to it? Right? There's no reason to know it now, you know? There is a reason once we get there. And we're sort of taking steps in a language. I mean, this music theory is a language. The way that I always describe it is, you know, sort of like trying to memorize small, little, tiny phrases, you know, when I'm in another country, right? And these sort of like, okay, cool, I know I could say that, you know, on this, right? And I know I can... Cool. I don't know why it works. I don't exactly know what I'm saying, but I know I can put it there. You know, I know I could say this in a conversation. If we're learning the basics, we can just build our way up to learning the language, right? And that's what we need to do here. The modes are not that difficult once you take the baby steps up into the modes. What I love about that, to give an example, is like if I'm playing an A major. Once I learn the basics of the A major, or whatever, you know, whatever key you're in, the major scale, once I learn how to improvise using that A major scale, and I theoretically understand it, I theoretically understand how to build all my chord progressions off of that, the best part is, I could take that to any one of the modes, and to be honest, like further than that, into any one of the scales. So I spend X amount of time learning the theory of the major scale. Every scale that I now learn is exponentially easier. I don't have to learn the theory behind it. I just learn the theory behind the major scale, and then all of the other scales are just, oh, okay, Dorian. Oh, well, that's really like starting on the 2. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, it's a little bit different, but I think never mind. I get it. Okay, got it. Instead of spending, even more hours on the major scale, and then looking at Dorian and being like, oh my God, I don't know what this is. All right, let me spend all of this time on Dorian. And then you're still not really sure. And then, oh gosh, there's Phrygian. Yeah, spending all this time on Phrygian. And taking those baby steps. Now, obviously, I said this wasn't going to be a sales pitch for the course, which it is not. Obviously, that is what the course that we teach does. But this is also why having a step-by-step guide is helpful. And to be honest, the amount of time and energy that it is going to cut out of your practice time and your learning time is absolutely amazing. You know what I mean? You're never lost. Think of how many times you watch these YouTube videos and you're like, ooh, I just sat and watched a 20-minute YouTube video about, Phrygian, and I don't know why it's Phrygian and why it has a flat two. I don't understand. And now it's like, do I watch it again to try to? No, just the baby steps like leading up to it, which is like so fantastic. Any sort of chord progression, non-diatonic chord progressions. When we start getting into, like in the course, we start getting into progressions that go from one modal color to a different modal color, and then back again, and then shifts keys completely. Some more advanced stuff, and none of that goes over your head because you have the basic knowledge, which really just comes from like this major scale, and to be honest, even like the pentatonic, and the blues stuff. So watch out if you're watching a video and you start to get really, really lost in the video and you're not sure why the scale is this or what that guy's talking about, or what it might just be one or two steps a little too far. And I think the scary thing about learning theory for guitar players is we don't know what we don't know. You know what I mean? So it almost seems like anything next is fine, right? Any other topic is fine, and instead of taking those baby steps, because if for us guitar players, I'm not going to keep selling me. So like for a lot of the more theory-based guitar players or guitar teachers, they all really are. I don't really know a whole lot of guitar teachers out there that are just teaching non-theory-based improvisation. But anyone that's teaching improvisation, like we're sort of looking down at this clear path up to where we are, and even beyond. Right? We could see that path, but the problem is a player that is not at that level doesn't see that path, and it's just sort of like searching around for the next thing, and it's sort of just getting zigzagged and lost in like a maze when we just sort of see the path straight up. And it's always been something that I enjoy teaching. So just that little bit of a warning, because it's very daunting. It's very frustrating when you start getting into theory. And I will leave you with this. If you are riffing around in the pentatonic scale and you're having fun and you want to learn theory, this does not mean you have to stop anything that you're doing. There's nothing that you have to stop doing. You just take all of the fun playing and solos that you're playing, and then the theory, and then you're just going to sort of see these pieces just slowly start coming together, and I remember doing that, if I was learning like Guns N' Roses solo or whatever it was, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's what that is, So it's not like you have to stop doing fun stuff and now you have to do this, and I do think that's really, really important. And then also, lastly, theory is not math, okay? Theory is language. Music is language. The reason it uses numbers is because, we can't just say, hey, go to the sad note. Yeah, go to the sad note. Go to the really tense note. Can you go to the really tense note, right, in every key, and then you have to like describe it? No, you just say the tritone. You just say the flat three. So we're just using numbers as a definite code. It just makes it that much easier. But really, what we're doing is describing feeling and sort of conveying language-like communication. I do hope that helps, because I really don't want people to get frustrated and then they just don't learn theory at all, because it's frustrating.